statement about, wait a minute, probably got things on here with me.
Right. So you can say that to like the mic in that meeting. Oh man, there's things that we can pull off.
See that thing?
Reduce the cost. Or maybe added services that people want. And the whole contamination thing, that is, because I asked the same question, it's the same thing. If they knowingly in their mind know there's contamination, they can be fired. Do you realize that? If they cannot commingle.
It's like, wait a minute, Dan.
I'm sick of everything revolving around it. I mean, they're changing that whole meeting. They sent out the letters. Staff was okay. They sent out the letters to all the residents. They rented the hotel, and all of a sudden she came to the meeting. So they changed it. They even asked the district council member if he can come to the meeting. He finds out from my Maddox when the meeting is. How backwards is this shit?
That's way backward. When is the meeting anyway?
July
You did hear
26th.
me say that he was here, right?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
getting goofy.
Gotta make that note.
At that wind gate
Right.
back there.
Right there.
Later on, I'm gonna fix it.
Okay.
How you doing, Bob?
We'll wait for
Show me if I had no business. I'm like, oh crap.
together.
I know.
I didn't see you. Did you see me? No. Yeah.
It's like 1 minute, not even 1 minute.
What's the date? 18th? So 19th.
19th. It was a random thing ever.
The whole story.
I know.
Last minute stuff here.
Oh, boy. I'd like to call the order the regular city council meeting for July 19th of the city of Joliet. Mayor Bob Odekirk presiding. We have the invocation this evening done by Pastor Benton Ritchie of the First Christian Church located at 1701 Laraway Road, after which he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will we all stand, please?
Let's bow our heads. Our Father in heaven, we thank you that you are the creator of all good things, and Satan is the creator of everything that is evil. You are Lord of all nations and people. Lord, I thank you that I was taught in Sunday school here in Joliet at the age of 5 that you love all mankind, red and yellow, black and white. They are all precious in your sight. And thank you that Jesus loves each one of us. This we know, for the Bible tells us so. Lord, you love Democrats, Republicans, communists, even every political group, because you love everybody. You bless all mankind with life and the blessings of life. We especially thank you for blessing America that started out as a Christian nation. Help each one of us to serve others, help others, forgive others, encourage others to be just like Jesus, who said from the cross, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. God bless our men and women serving in the police force. I cry because of what's happening. And bless those in the armed forces. Keep them safe. May hatred turn to love and respect. And Lord, bless Joliet City Council, councilmen, staff, and the administration. May they all work for the betterment of the citizens of Joliet. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we ask these petitions and prayers. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here.
Councilman Hug. Councilman McFarland.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudron.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilman Turk. First on the agenda under Mayor is a proclamation recognizing and honoring Jim Haller, Director of Community and Economic Development, for 36 years of dedicated service to the city of Joliet.
girls.
She would like these girls to come on up, so why not? And Mom as well. Bring them all up.
I meant all the girls. I'm included.
Oh, Mom's here too?
Or my wife Diane.
Oh.
Their mom.
Well, their mom, so I said, okay. Get around. Okay, proclamation and recognition in honor of Jim Haller, Director of Community and Economic Development for 36 years of dedicated service to the city of Joliet. Whereas Jim Haller has served the people of the city of Joliet as Director of Community and Economic Development for 36 years, and Jim began his employment with the city of Joliet on May 19, 1980, as a Planner 1, where Jim was promoted to Planner 2 on January 1, 1984, and again on June 4, 1986, as Director of Planning. Then again on June 19, 1987, as Director of Community and Economic Development. Jim was the project manager for the rehabilitation of Union Station in the mid-'80s. He also has served as a liaison to the Land Use and Legislative Committee, Secretary to the Planning Commission, member of the American Planning Association, and past president of the Joliet Park Foundation. He was instrumental in representing the city during its period of extensive growth and development, including Chicagoland Speedway, Autobahn, Centerpoint, Route 66 Raceway, Silver Cross Field, both casinos, and the extension of city boundaries with residential, commercial, and industrial development. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Joliet of Illinois as follows. It is hereby deemed appropriate that Jim Haller be recognized and commended for the outstanding and professional manner in which he performed his duties as Director of Community and Economic Development, and for the many years of dedicated and loyal service to the City of Joliet. Dated July 19th, 2016, and is signed by Mayor Bob Odekirk. Congratulations.
Thank you, one and all. A lot of people don't know this, but I was born and raised in Joliet, right across the river. I went to St. Pat's, graduated in 1965. Joliet Catholic, right up the hill, got out in 1969. Went to Joliet Junior College for the 2 years, got out in 71, and then went to NIU. And like so many people, I had the ability to get employment anywhere in the world, I suppose, but that was not an option. The real option for me was to stay here in Joliet, the city that I was born and raised in, the city that I love. All my relatives are here, all my friends are here. There's nothing that the city of Joliet does not have to offer, and I'm truly honored to be recognized in this way, but more importantly, I'm really honored to have served the people of Joliet for this entire time. We were exposed to everything. We did it all. We built all kinds of things. We accomplished a lot. I served under 7 mayors, 6 city managers, and I've seen 2 recessions, and I guess we're now in somewhat of a boom time, so I've seen a couple of those as well. And quite honestly, I like the boom years better than the lean ones. But the city of Joliet accomplished quite a bit. I was proud to be a part of it. There's a lot of great people that rolled up their sleeves and got it all done. I was just one of them, but I want to thank you very much for this proclamation.
Thank you, Jim. Enjoying your retirement.
Thanks for all your service.
Yes.
Jim, just in parting, and I want you to certainly enjoy your retirement. But you and I have known each other for years, even before I came to this spot. And you are Joliet's historian. I know when we first met, anything I wanted to know about this city, I always called you the wise man. And I would come to you and ask you questions, and you would break it down for me and explain it and make it so clear. we will certainly going to miss you. We're all going to miss you and your work. So thank you so much for your service to this great city.
Thank you, and I'm not going anywhere. We're staying in town, so
Oh, I'll call you up. when I
numbers in
need
the book.
All right.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Mayor, members of the council, I'd like to take the opportunity, if I can, to make a few comments about Jim Haller. Jim, we're going to start with a little Jeopardy, okay? The answer to the question is Tom Hamill. What is the question?
Class member from 1969.
That's halfway right. What was the name of the person whose locker was right between your locker and my locker? Tom Hamill. I had to look it up myself. So like Jim indicated, I myself also a very proud graduate of Joliet Catholic High School, class of '69, so I've known Jim for well over 50 years and had the privilege of working with Jim for well over 40. I can tell you, as everybody in the council knows, that Jim is the last remaining member of what I call the Fab Five for the city of Joliet. The real persons besides the council and a lot of other people who were responsible for taking our city to these great heights. Tom Thanis, John Mezzera, Jeff Plyman, Dennis Duffield, and now Jim Haller. In my generation and for the type of work and jobs that I've been able and fortunate to do, these people have really been we've been very fortunate to have had them working with the city and leading us for all these years. You heard many of the accomplishments of Jim with respect to the projects. I've got to tell you, the last project that was mentioned is the one I'll always remember Jim Haller for, and that's the responsibility for the annexation of tremendous amount of property to the city of Joliet. We all know the casinos helped to spur our growth in the early 90s, but without the annexation of all the properties, and Jim was right at the forefront of all that, and I'm talking south, I'm talking east, I'm talking west. I had a lot of clients who were involved in that. We wouldn't be the city where we are today with the tax base and everything else that we enjoy. Jim was right in the middle of that floor. You know, the thing about Jim Haller, not only is he a fair guy and an honest guy, but also he has provided a tremendous amount of business sense to the development world. I've had the privilege and honor of doing a lot of development in Will County, representing a lot of clients at other municipalities. The city of Joliet is still the best one for development here in Will County. We have the best people, we have the fairest rules, and we get things done quickly. And a large part of that has been Jim's leadership and fortitude and knowing when to represent the city and when to be fair to the developers. I want to thank Jim for that and thanking him for always remembering the city, but also remembering the other side as well. I certainly hope that, and I know that the city will continue that practice while Jim retires. I'm really pretty envious of Jim at this present time, being the same age and being the fact that he is retiring. And I'm also very happy to know that he's beaten so far that rotten disease of cancer, because we all know what that can do to a family. So I'd just like to say thank you, Jim. Thank you for doing everything that you've done for the city. God bless you, and good luck. Thank you.
Next under Mayor is Mayor Odekirk appointments. The mayor is recommending Dominic Orlando to be appointed to the Joliet Plan Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded to approve it. Councilman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, we have a presentation. John Zalanka presenting Project Acclaim's Reverend James E. Allen Award for service to the community to Dick Schuster for his work with JCTV.
Mr. Mayor and members of City Council, Mr. City Manager, it's a pleasure to return to this meeting again tonight. Project Acclaim is formerly Joliet Will County Project Pride. We rebranded ourselves last year. You can go to our website, www.projectacclaim.org, and read the blog about how that happened and why. We are a local recognition organization, have been so for 30 years. The Hall of Pride sits in the library in downtown Joliet. Visit it anytime you wish. We have major awards known as the Hall of Pride Award, and as a matter of fact, our banquet is coming up November 3rd, Thursday of that week. We'll be honoring Terry Darcy of Darcy Motors and the Pritz family of Joliet at that time. So everyone here and everyone watching are welcome to find out more on our website and attend that event. We'll be back later to present the Neighborhood Hero Awards, the Curb Appeal Awards, which are so popular in our organization and with the city sometime in August. The other award we do is a quarterly award that we put together last year and have begun awarding it on that regular basis. And our latest winner is Mr. Dick Schuster of JCTV. And Dick is here with his wife. Millie, come on up. Dick began in 1984 as a volunteer with JCTV. Millie. And his accomplishments are rather obvious. I said to Dick a few minutes ago that I was going to use a line from The Wizard of Oz to describe him, and that was the line that said, "Ignore that man behind the curtain." Well, tonight we get to throw that curtain back and honor Dick Schuster for his service. Words that I had considered were genuine, kind, dedicated, brilliant, farsighted, versatile, all words I like someone to say about me sometime. But I do want to let you know that the criteria for this award are for an individual or a group that demonstrates selfless devotion to community by direct action. They reside or work in Joliet or the Will County region, perform actions above and beyond the usual call of duty. Individual performed action outside any compensated assignment. Action noted as measurable impact or significantly improved the life or the well-being of individuals or the community. Actions promote the vision of our organization. They enhance the best interests of the community. They can be singular or repeated events. And anyone who has a nominee can let us know about them. Send us a write-up, connect with our website, and follow the contact us information. We'd be happy to hear about them. It's great to follow Mr. Haller tonight as well. We believe that Dick has checked off almost every box on our criteria list, and it is our great pleasure to award him the Reverend James E. Allen Award for Service to the Community. Reverend Allen is the founder of Project Pride, now known as Project Acclaim. And I introduce to you the man behind the curtain, Mr. Dick Schuster.
I'll be brief because I like to be behind the camera, not in front of it. But I'd like to thank John and his staff from Project Acclaim for considering me and my wife for this. And she gets half of this award because she's with me 90% of the time doing all these shoots. So her name's not on there, but it'll go on the wall with her. And I'd also like to thank Chief Benton and the Joliet Police Department for their service to the city and the great job that the policemen do here. And I hope all the people of Joliet give them the respect that they deserve.
Next, we have the auditors for the City of Joliet and also Rialto auditors.
Dave? Good evening. Thanks for having me out. My name's Dave Meyer with the firm of Ruzon, and we had the performing the audit, the fiscal year 31st Along with that, we issued several. First, I'd like to thank the staff, Mr. Gadati and his did an excellent job providing us to perform our audit. There's a lot of information that we need to go through. And, they had gone through a computer, and so this was the first, the new Munis system, and they were able to precisely. So fantastic, great group to work with. They go out of the information we need, and so you're very fortunate working for you. I will go through pages of the comprehensive annual financial report. I'll go through the whole thing. I'd like to point out near the end of what's section, there's on page 11, Certificate of Achievement for Excellent Reporting. And this is for, or the prior year team, this award government finance officer and the government of finance, all the disclosures, requirements of their, so congratulations, providing at the highest level. The next is in the financial sections 1 through 3, the auditor's report. And so here's a firm name on the line and say, we have audit financial statements, and that they present the balances of the city, what's called a unqualified, if you will, financial statements of the city. The independent auditor's report, the management's discussion and asked to read, to read if you don't want to read the whole book, in here, summary where it compares last year. After the financial statements themselves, and what I'd like to focus on is the general fund, fund balance. And if you look at page 22, you have the what's called the expenditures and changes in fund balances of your governmental general fund is the first, and the general here with a positive fund balance of about went from million to during 18. So you had some. If you look at the fund balance as a percentage, it shows you have 4 months worth of fund balance to begin 20. But what happened? Moving forward, you've got your walk that ended the year with a positive change in fund balance of net position as well, of about an increase in the water fund as well. You've got statements that follow. These are all required. These disclosures in accordance with all that are governed by governmental accounting. I'm going to take a quick back at page 88 and 89. General, you're showing your budgets. What you adopted as what your final budgets were better than your budget in the revenue, about 3.3 million. So your actual revenues exceeded the budget. And most of those were from your state income tax, sales tax, those expenditures, you were able to come in under budget in the general fund. So your budget was about 165 million under the budget. Good year, if you will, as far as operations go. Back, there's a statistical, one, and I'm going to jump 132 and 133. There's a 10-year history balance for the governmental funds. So this shows an expenditures. And I want to focus on, though, is your debt service as a percentage of non-capital spending 1% or less debt service out of your, quite remarkable, spending 5% of their dollars, their tax dollars, on servicing their debt. So that's a good place to be. I know we report news, and again on the net the gaming revenues were down again, 8th consecutive year. You hit a high in 2007 of 36 million, and the city is down to almost half that now. Million was the revenue for gaming. The last page I'm going to jump to is your city employment statistics. It's on page 148, and again, you had, and now you were down to 836 this last year. So you're doing just as much with about 200 less employees. Years. We've issued other reports. One I'll just touch on that we don't have to look at it, but we audited your federal grants. It's called a single audit, and we tested the expenditures related to some of the grant programs to be in order. So there were no findings related to the expenditures of federal grants. Does anyone have any questions about what we do as auditors or what information is presented in the city's comprehensive annual financial report?
I think we're good. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
Nice question.
Seeing none, we'll move on to a special presentation.
So here we are again, Mayor, with the final framing of the flag for the commemorative 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War end of the Vietnam War, excuse me. And we have the Chairman Wayne Horn here of this committee. He's holding up the final process of the commemoration proclamation from the President of the United States. And we also have here a Department of Defense Vietnam War commemoration that recognizes the city of Joliet as a commemorative partner, awarded in recognition of your willingness to assist and support a grateful nation in thanking and honoring our Vietnam War veterans, their families, and those who served with or in support of the armed forces. And it's signed by Ash Carter, the Secretary of Defense, and J.L. Danford, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I'm just dry here. So I just wanted everybody to see the final product. We did get everything framed, and it will be in City Hall. And as you walk into City Hall, it won't be missed. It will be in commemorative of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War and honoring our Vietnam vets as well. And on a side note, let's not forget our Korean vets. Our World War II vets have gone to Honor Flight Chicago, but now we're working on the Korean War vets. So if anyone knows a Korean War vet that would like to go to Washington, D.C. to see their memorial, it's all expenses paid. It's only one vet per flight. And you can call Honor Flight Chicago, and it's in the phone book, and it's also honorflightchicago.com. And download an application form. And also, if you'd like to volunteer to help at the airport or be a buddy or medical personnel, you can also get a form for that to download. So we need to commemorate not only our World War II veterans, they're still going, but as you know, they're getting less and less. And we're honoring the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam vets, but now it's the Korean War vets, it's their turn to go to Washington. So I'd like to thank everybody, and you see anybody, think of it. And thank you, Mayor, for getting us to be a commemorative partner. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. Good job. Good work. Are you prepared to announce any of the events that you have coming up, or is it still?
Tell them what we're working on.
Well, we can't announce anything yet, other than the lights. We're still working on that, but that is coming. But,
Not everybody knows about that.
oh, the lights? Well, we are partnering with ExxonMobil to put lights on all of the flag pavilions around town. There's 8 of them. And we think we're close to that. We haven't got that firmed up yet, but that should be done. We're hoping that our timeline for that is to be done by the fall, before Veterans Day. So that's one project. We have talked about possibly doing a parade, and as part of some downtown activity. Also, we've talked about a bicycle ride. A bicycle ride would be a pretty cool idea. There's a lot of interest in that around different parts of the country. Disabled vets have their own rides that they have, and we'd like to have them as part of that too. But these are things that we're working on. One other thing that we've talked about is having a part of the city's website so that we can have information about the commemorative committee on the website, and we'd also like to initiate contacting or having as many Vietnam vets in the community as we can contact us so that we can build a database on their behalf. And thank you all for, on behalf of all the Vietnam vets. We're the last big bunch of vets that, and I hope that remains true for the rest of time. But can't forget the vets. Period. I feel very lucky to be here, given the experiences that I've had, and I think a lot of guys do, because I'll tell you honestly, it's mostly just luck. You can think you're skilled, you can think you're the best, you can think that you're really a smart soldier, but a lot of times it's just pure luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
I did hear you. I will vote aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council committee reports. Economic Development Committee report.
The Economic Development Committee met on July 14th here in the City Hall downstairs in the Planning Conference Room. The Economic Development Committee consists of myself, Councilman Morris, and Councilman Mudrin. Additionally in attendance at the meeting was, of course, Steve Jones, our Economic Development Director, and Dave Mackley from the Buildings Inspections Department. We talked about the three items yesterday. We laid them out, and they're on the agenda tonight. One is the property tax abatement request for Cat Barbell with the expansion of their current distribution facility into manufacturing. And then we also talked about the change we had to make through the end of the year at the Union Station with Busan Catering. And we talked about the update of the Grand Ballroom RFP, which is down to 2. I would like to mention that on our monthly reports, Steve, am I remembering right? Were we up about 15% on the
I believe it was about 22%.
22% on the permit, so that's good news. And that's all I have for my report, unless anybody wants to add anything. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Finance Committee report.
Yes, Your Honor. The Finance Committee met this evening just prior to our City Council meeting. The Finance Committee consists of myself, Councilman Mudrin, and Councilman Turk, who is actually out of town today on vacation. We discussed a couple of things. We had a report that you just heard from our external auditors, our independent auditors, Wormer Rogers, and we got a clean bill of health for this year, 2015. We also had a report, or just kind of an informal discussion with the auditors, Wormer Rogers as well, from the Rialto Square Theater. So we had a good conversation there. Their last report that they had finalized was June 30th of 2015. So the June 30th, 2016 audit really has not begun yet. So we weren't able to discuss any of those issues. The final item that we discussed, other than the normal general reports and personnel items, which all seem to be in order, was we have Council Memo 326, which is the approval or the renewal of the property and casualty coverages. And Jim Hawk, I believe you mentioned yesterday that we were showing a reduction, actually, from the previous year.
Yes.
Yeah. So that seemed to be in order as well, and the committee did recommend its approval. And again, it's Council Memo 326. Your Honor, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service Committee met yesterday afternoon. The committee is comprised of Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Hug, and myself. All contracts, change orders, past permits, and final payments and ordinances that are on this evening's agenda are recommended for approval. Concludes my report.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda items, approval of minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the combined council meeting held on July 5th, 2016 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 325-16, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill 1 police sergeant position, 1 police patrol officer position, 1 clerk typist position in the finance department, 1 fire lieutenant position, 3 firefighter paramedic positions, 1 lift station mechanic position, and any subsequent vacancies which may occur with filling these. Council Memo 326-16, authorization to approve the proposed renewal of property and casualty coverages. It's recommended the mayor and council authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Arthur Gallagher Risk Management Services. And Council Memo 327-16, receipt of the 2015 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
Move to approve.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
I just wanted to thank Warmer Rogers, Dave, I believe, from Warmer Rogers, was that it?
Yes, sir.
Great report, was able to go through it, and it just confirmed what I think we all knew. We really are experiencing some accelerated good things here in Joliet, so thanks to Warmer Rogers, and I vote aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 329-16, issuance of a Class E liquor license at 3501 Shanahan Road, Mirancho Mexican Restaurant. It's recommended this restaurant be issued a Class E liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 330-16, transfer of a Class C liquor license at 120 South Larkin Avenue, Joliet Liquors. It's recommended this be issued a Class C liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under public hearings, Council Memo 332-16, it's a public hearing approving the annexation of 38.406 acres and a special use permit to allow a proposed trucking terminal located at the northeast corner of Laraway Road and Route 52. This includes a resolution approving an annexation agreement, an ordinance approving the annexation, an ordinance approving the classification to I-1 zoning, and an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a proposed trucking terminal. This is a public hearing, so comments are in order at this time.
Is there anybody who'd like to speak on this agenda item? Krista?
Let the record show that the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 332-16A? There actually is a second public hearing, and we'll require a second vote on it.
So move on.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Excuse me, can I ask a question? I apologize. What did we just do?
This, A2-16, it was the annexation of the 38.406 acres and the special use permit. The second public hearing is for the 28 acres, the east portion of it.
No, I know, but what was the action we just took?
You approved it.
Approved everything?
Yes.
Well, we still have a gap in the annexation agreement, which we discussed earlier, correct, Mr. Hock? Angela
Yes.
Maidman
Well,
is
we-
here from Estes Trucking.
What we presented to council was the 140,000, that was the number discussed earlier, and that's what they just voted on.
Well, that's not what we agreed to, and that's not what I understood was going to be before
I
the
mean,
council tonight.
Jim, is it premature, the vote that we just took in light of the new development?
I think it is.
Would you like to see that vote rescinded
Yeah, it would be appropriate at this point in time.
and then table the matter for further negotiation?
I'm going to direct my comments to Angela, the Vice President of Estes Trucking here. We would like to have a discussion here before the council on that matter, but
We're not going to negotiate a contract here. It's up for action tonight for an up or down vote. If you don't want the vote, we can table the matter.
So, Mayor,
We'll request a table, Your Honor.
I guess we need a motion to rescind the
We need a motion to rescind, yes.
I'll move to rescind the last vote.
A second.
It's been motioned and seconded to rescind the approval of Council Memo 332-16A. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Mayor, would a tabling motion be in order?
I believe so.
Okay, I'll move to table.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 332-16A. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. The first item was tabled. Next is a public hearing approving the annexation of 28 acres and a special use permit to allow a proposed trucking terminal located at the northeast corner of Laraway Road and Route 52 East. This includes a resolution approving an annexation agreement, an ordinance approving the annexation, an ordinance approving the classification to I-1 zoning, and an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a proposed trucking terminal.
Mayor, it would be appropriate to open the public hearing, close it, and then again table this item because it's tied to the prior one.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak on this agenda item?
Let the record show that the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to table Council Memo 332B?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item is tabled. The next public hearing is Council Memo 333-16, a public hearing approving the annexation of 8.82 acres east of Rowell Avenue, classification to I-2 General Industrial Zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. This includes a resolution approving the annexation agreement, an ordinance approving the annexation, and an ordinance approving the classification to I-2 zoning. Again, this is a public hearing, so comments are in order at this time.
Is there anybody who'd like to speak on this agenda item?
Your Honor, if I could please, same procedure as the prior one, we'd like to request a table of this matter.
Move to table.
Second.
Well, hold on. Let's close the public hearing first.
Let the record show that the public hearing is closed.
Jan?
I'll move to table. Again.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 333-16. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 333-16 is tabled as well. Moving on under resolutions, Council Memo 335-16 is a resolution authorizing a property tax abatement for Cap Barbell located at 3499 South Chicago Street. It is recommended said resolution be adopted.
Table and anything else.
So move.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 336-16, a resolution authorizing First Amendment to Joliet Union Station lease agreement. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's in motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 337-16, a resolution appropriating funds for the Benton Clay Herkimer Roadway Improvement Project 2016. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris. Councilman Morris?
Aye, sorry.
That's okay. Motion carried. Council Memo 338-16, a resolution approving the CDBG fiscal year 2016 annual action plan substantial amendment to the fiscal year 2015 to 2019 five-year consolidated plan citizen participation plan update. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just a couple of things. Yesterday and today, we received comments from the Shriver Center and also the South Suburban Housing Center on this issue. And the concern was the fair housing analysis that was performed in 2014. And I just want to go on record that we did receive these comments, and I've passed them on to you this evening. They will be addressed with both of these centers, and if that requires another amendment to this, we'll be presenting it to you again, but we'll provide a report to you on the outcome of those discussions.
Yes.
I just want to clarify, yesterday, my understanding was we were not changing the annual action plan, we were just adding a housing component to this, is that correct? Or are we changing the actual entire plan?
No, but this was an opportunity for both of these agencies, as we proceed to take ownership of Evergreen Terrace, to make a point that there was an analysis conducted back in 2014 and that there hasn't been follow-up to that analysis in their view. So they're wanting to go on record as we have this revision made.
Right, I guess my concern, well, my understanding last evening, and clarify this, only thing we're voting on tonight is to change the home funds, adding it to the plan, the home consortium, that's it.
Right.
The action plan, nothing else changes.
No.
But adding this home consortium component, 350,000, then activated the Shriver, because I've glanced at this and it's a little alarming if you skim it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just a shock and awe headlines of the city failure to address racially, ethnically concentrated areas of poverty in and around the city. So I guess before we vote on this, should staff take a look at this and come back to us before we approve something like this?
No, I think as you delve a little deeper when you have the opportunity, they're also making the presumption that all 241 residents of Evergreen Terrace that we have the authority to displace are going to be displaced. And that's very much their concern. And because the city hasn't taken possession of the property, because we need to take possession before we can evaluate the condition of Evergreen Terrace, and then talk about redevelopment or vouchering of any residents, they're just going on record that we need to be aware that we had this analysis done in 2014, and the impact, if we do the extreme, which is displace those 241 residents, will adversely affect even further the analysis of that 2014 study. So we will come back, and it's really a component of the other side of the equation, not necessarily the home, but expenditures on the CDBG side of the equation.
Yes.
Yeah, Jim, me too, like Councilman McFarland, I kind of just glanced through this, but it also seems that it is saying that nothing's been done since 2014, not to mention, like you just stated, what may be done in the future. So
right.
Do you think that maybe Alfredo can address the fact of what has happened up until this point? Because this is what I'm reading, and again, I haven't been able to read it thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying nothing has even been done for affordable housing in the city since, the plan was originally.
To address that analysis, right. You're right. And it may require another amendment, but it would be on the CDBG side, not the home side. And that's really all this amendment tonight addresses, is joining the Will County home consortium on those funds, that 350,000. So again, we just got this late yesterday and about 4 o'clock today. And I just want to go on record with you that we received this and we will move forward to address these concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor? Yep. Mine. Jim, do we have a list of streets that we're going to improve for the 279,000, or is that to be determined?
I don't know that, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
If we've
How
got
about the
list.
demolition and clearance? Again, do we have something that we're focused on, or is that just being set aside and to be determined again?
That is to be determined. As you know, you authorize the purchase of homes that came up at auction. So we can use the funds for those kinds of purchases. So, and
So
demolition
for any
of those
purchase we make?
properties. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And these are the full, these are the only advertised, as it was described, activities?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 338-16?
So move.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
I expecting a follow-up as soon as possible on this one. Okay.
Councilman Girl?
I agree with Councilman Gavin, but I vote aye.
Councilman Hug?
No?
Councilman McFarland?
I vote aye, but I also expect a follow-up.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-1.
Jim, we just are getting this report right now. When you say a
6-1.
follow-up, or the council's asking for follow-up, do you have any idea what that would consist of?
Well, I'll have to get with Alfredo and talk to him about what the expectations, what the plan was to address in that 2014 report. And because I don't know if it was ever discussed to be part of CDBG expenditures or be part of when we take possession of Evergreen Terrace. So I'll get that information and we'll provide a report to you.
It's fine. And, for clarification, because I'm skimming through this also, Evergreen Terrace is part of this, but it goes a lot further than that. They
Yes.
talk about our reliance on police calls for service. They break down percentages, different minority groups, and how they're affected by our policies. So certainly the Evergreen issue. And also, to point out that the 241 households which may be displaced, they also point out the 900 households are on the waiting list to get inside Evergreen Terrace, and how we are, in fact, displacing them also. So there's a lot to this report.
Yes, there is. And like I said, I got it at 4 o'clock today.
Right, I understand. Thank you.
Sure.
Next on our bids and contracts, award of contracts. Council Memo 340-16, approve emergency purchase of HVAC unit for Silver Cross Field. Council Memo 341-16, award the 2016 Public Utilities Spoils Hauling Contract. Council Memo 342-16, award a contract for the Benton Clay Herkimer Roadway Improvement Project 2016. Council Memo 343-16, award a contract for the Mays Street, Jefferson to Oneida Street Water Main Improvement Project 2016. Council Memo 344-16, award a contract for the Washington Street Water Main Improvements Project 2016. Council Memo 345-16, award a contract for the East Side Wastewater Treatment Plant Grit Improvement Project. Council Memo 346-16, award a contract for the 2016 Hickory Spring Creek Cleaning Project. Council Memo 347-16, renew agreement for sewer video management system. It's recommended Council Memos 340 through 346-16 be approved.
So moved.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman McFarland?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carried. Amendments, change orders, and payments. Council Memo 349-16, approve payment of the 2017 wastewater discharge NPDES permit fees. Council Memo 350-16, approve change order number 1 for the 2016 well rehabilitation construction observation contract. Council Memo 351-16, approve change order number 4 for the Ida Street, Rayner Avenue, Woods Avenue roadway improvements project 2015. Council Memo 352-16, approve change order number 1 and payment number 6 and payment number 7 and final for the Well 23D rehabilitation project. It's recommended Council Memos 349 through 352-16 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's in motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Couple of things. Mayor and Council, first of all, I'd like to introduce you to our new Chief Information Officer, Dave Ranner, who's spent a little bit over a week with the city now, and this is his first council meeting. So we'll do a handshake after the meeting so you can meet him personally. The other issue is it came to our attention that the Century Tile site is looking to locate
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that? Is looking to locate a blood and plasma center there, which is a allowable use under the current zoning. And this blood and plasma center is one where it's a for-profit, which means that you can walk in and sell your blood or sell your plasma. I don't know if you're aware, but the FDA regulates that, and so anybody over 18 years old can walk in and sell their blood or their plasma. Because it's an allowable use, there's no city review, city council or planning commission. They can just come in and get their permits for modification to the interior of the building. There's no site plan modifications, no landscaping, no fencing. And so I guess the question is, I'm trying to survey the council because there's a known use, and then there's also the use that you recently turned down, which was the drive time used car lot there, which, because they requested a special use permit, allowed us to require a fence along the residential side of the property, landscaping, layout of the parking lot, as well as reviewing the internal modifications of the business. If there is interest, it would require on the next agenda first a motion to rescind the denial of the special use, followed by a motion to grant that special land use. And of course, you can establish the same conditions that were presented to you before. So I'm just kind of looking for some feedback from the council if there's interest to have that on the next agenda.
Two questions, Jim. Number one, we already have a blood plasma center in Joliet, correct, where people can sell their blood?
I'm not sure there's a location where they sell it, but there are donation locations. Heartland is on Springfield Road, across from the hospital, and they solicit donations. You don't get money for your blood like this one would be.
Jim Haller's not here. Maybe someone on staff knows. Isn't there a place on Collins Street where you can do the same thing?
I believe used to be.
Kendall Jackson's coming to the podium.
Yes, Mayor, there is a place on Collins Street. I believe it's just to the east of the high school. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can sell there or donate. I'm not quite sure what their business operation is, but they do exist.
All right, thank you. And then number two, with drive time, they estimated $200,000 a year in taxes for the city. Do we have an estimate on what this blood center would raise for the city?
Well, it wouldn't raise anything because they're not selling anything. They're actually purchasing.
So no tax dollars coming in from this?
Not outside of property tax.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Do we know, Jim, who this blood plasma center, who's,
I'm not sure we know the
Yeah.
name, but we've been, Deputy City Manager Jones has been in direct contact with the broker, and he's provided this information to us. And we also had inquiries from the property owner. They came into the planning department this last week and made specific inquiries about building modifications, and that this would be an allowable use.
okay. That's a pretty large building over there with Century Tile.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering what type of a company could come in and fill that spot, generate no tax dollars. Just asking. Maybe it's just
Well,
me.
again, the only taxes we have are property tax and sales tax. So if they're not selling something directly to customers, if it's business to business, there's no tax. If they purchase blood and sell it to a hospital, we don't get sales tax off of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Jim, you said the residential area, that's to the west of the Century Town.
Yes.
Have the residents been notified or of
Well,
what
there's-
maybe to come, or
No.
they had any
No.
feedback? No. You think they should be, or, I mean,
Well, there's nothing we can do to prevent it. They can come in and get a permit tomorrow to occupy the building. But more than likely, they're going to make internal modifications to accommodate whatever the use is, and they'll need, building, electrical, plumbing permits, whatever changes they're going to make to the interior of the building.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Jim, Your Honor, just a couple things. First is, Jim, with the old, I know when we had the drive time, the old development agreement, they were required to put in, was it between $800,000 to $1 million worth of improvements?
Well, that was the estimate that they put on there, because there were going to be, office space for sales and showroom space internally.
Landscaping, fencing.
We were requiring a fence between the residential area and their parking lot. We were requiring trees along the side road, as well as Larkin and other plantings to soften the site.
So that would be a way our staff could basically quantify that, because they would have a development plan, and they could make sure that everything on that development plan was done, correct?
That's a condition that council establishes in a special use permit.
If that didn't get done,
and-
we could revoke that special use permit. correct?
Yes, and it doesn't necessarily go with the property, goes with the use. So if you did approve a drive time or anything else and they moved out, it doesn't pass necessarily to the next owner.
And then my second question, I guess, is a question for you. I've never had any experience with this, but it doesn't sound like a good project to me. Do you have any experience with these types of businesses?
I do have some personal experience in prior city management job in Michigan where people got on the bus and showed up and,
I'd like to speak on this
sold.
particular issue. Sit down.
I'd like to speak on this issue about
You're out
the
of
blood
order. Sit
plasma
down,
center.
Robert.
The blood plasma
Sit
center
down,
on
please.
Cass Street in Collins
Joe?
has been closed for some time.
Sit down.
So I just wanted to correct the misinformation
Sit
that
down.
Kendall Jackson gave. It's been closed. They chose to do that themselves.
Go ahead, Jim, I'm sorry.
The problem with that facility in Michigan was there was a liquor store right across the street. People would sell their plasma and go across the street to the liquor store and wander into the neighborhoods. Now, I know there's no liquor sales near this location, but it doesn't mean that people wouldn't be traveling by bus or, coming specifically to that location.
My concern is, Your Honor, there may not be a liquor store down the street, but there certainly is a high school down the street, which I don't know if a high school and a business like this is very compatible. And that does concern me. So,
Grammar school also.
a grammar school as well, yes, thank you. Those are my comments.
How long has that building been vacant?
It's been
Been some
several
years,
months.
right?
Yeah.
It's been years, not months, right?
Hmm,
You know, Steve, do you know how long the
How
building's
long, about a year or so?
vacant?
No longer than that.
Like Martin, sir.
I came in June, it was vacant, so it's probably 2 years or more.
Yeah.
2 years or more?
We did approve
Just kind of,
a special permit for the thrift store, the resale shop, St. Vincent de Paul, the council voted on. Remember to come in there?
Well, I guess if, I'll speak first. I think it's something we should revisit. I don't know what the vote of the council would be, but I have no problem if we bring that back at the next meeting. We have a debate about this.
Mayor,
Yes.
just for clarification for folks that are watching and not quite understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong. In order for this blood center or plasma blood center to sell blood goes in, does not have to come for council approval, and we cannot put conditions on the property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So no zoning is necessary. So they can just come in there and buy this property and put this in place. And the other side of that was Drive Time, the used car dealership is still interested, is that correct? And is the owner coming before us?
I believe
with these
so.
proposals?
I believe Mr. Martin is here. He may be able to answer that question.
Address and say that both parties, Drive Time and Century Tile, are interested in still pursuing the site.
And the owner is willing to go with you rather than this blood plasma bank, or?
Yes, I have authority to say that he's still interested in selling to Drive Time, and Drive Time's still interested in locating there.
So if we don't bring it back, you're going to have a blood plasma center where people are going to be selling their blood with a high school and a grammar school and apartment buildings close by with no improvements to the property, or we go with the used car salesman and no taxes, or we go with the used, rescind it, come back with the used car dealership, where we'll get $250,000 in taxes and improvements to the property, including the fence to protect the neighbors behind. Is that accurate for
That
everybody to
summarizes it,
summarize
yes.
it? I think we need to revisit it.
When we do that, Jim, could you definitely get what's being proposed? There's a lot of, we think it's a blood center, we think it's a plasma center. Can we definitely find out who's going there?
Certainly.
Ma'am? Yes. Yeah, wow, talk about luck. After more than 2 years of no offers, bam, bam, 2 offers in a row, on the heels of one being rejected. If this is a real offer, let's be clear that any objections individually anybody had here on the original project have to still be addressed. So you have to think to yourself, why did you do it even before the blood bank came? Number one. Number two, if the blood bank wants to come to Joliet, they're going to come to Joliet. We have plenty of other open commercial spaces up and down Larkin and other places. So if this is a real situation, they're still coming. And very likely in a neighborhood that, close to, it could still be close to the high school and one of the other open commercial spots. So I don't see the connection between the two.
If I could just add, I would like the people that came to oppose the drive time, the neighborhoods and the folks that live behind there, notified, and let them come to the council meeting if this does come back, and answer any of their questions if we're going to reconsider this. But it just seems to me that's an awfully big place for blood donations. When you have a mobile truck going from place to place from Heartland, getting donations all the time. So I just don't know what they would do with the rest of that building, unless they're going to sell beds. I don't know.
That's why we should get
We'll-
clarification.
I'll make sure
Exactly.
to send out the notifications.
We need clarification, this is a reputable blood plasma seller or donation or whatever you want to call it, because I have no name for it, because I know Heartland, and that's the only name that I know.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
New business?
I have none there.
I just want to thank Mr. Hawk and staff for wood chipping on Plainfield Road. Looks a lot better. It's nice and bright. You can see our flowers now. So thank you.
Sure.
I have nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, I have a couple items. Number one, I was at Pastor Posley's church today. I don't know the title of it. It's at the corner of Clinton and Eastern. He's put together a program. He's actually going to take to Texas, in honor of the 5 police officers who were slain, a piece of art that he's making here in Joliet. I was there with Pastor Herbert Brooks this afternoon. We put our handprints on this piece of art and signed it. He's asking for everyone on the council who's available. He's going to have it open on Friday. He's going to be there from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 at night. Anyone who's interested in participating, he's asking. I gave an open invitation to all the elected officials for that.
I'm sorry, what's the location?
Clinton and Eastern. Number 2, and Jim, I hope you can assist with this. We had a big announcement last week about the Hobolt Road Bridge finally coming to Joliet. Jim, if you could step in, we'll fill in the blanks. I had a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions maybe we can address tonight. And if anyone on the council had questions or concerns about the plan, this would be the time to vet it. So.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, as quietly behind the scenes, the state and Centerpoint had been in negotiations for almost a year, and then in the last couple months, they pulled the city and the county in to discuss a memorandum of understanding to enter, which will then become an agreement, and that agreement will be before you for consideration at your next council meeting. The basics of that agreement is that the state will provide $21 million to the city to provide engineering and improve the Hobolt exit at I-80 with a divergent diamond, make improvements to Hobolt Road all the way to the intersection of Hobolt and 6. Now, in the meantime, while this was going on, Council recently approved the Ketone development, which then south of 6 provides a 150-foot wide right-of-way or easement for this bridge, and then it widens to 300 feet down by the river because they don't know yet, based on engineering, exactly where it's going to cross the river. So once that's determined and the engineering's done, that 300 feet will narrow down to probably a 100-foot easement all the way from 6 going through. The state is providing 10% of the $21 million up front to the city to proceed with the engineering. And the reason the state's not doing this themselves is because if they proceeded, they would have to go through federal regulations for approval versus the city doing it and the state approving our engineering and so forth. So they believe we can get it done within a year versus 2 years in terms of the engineering and moving forward with construction. So again, their concern was how fast we can get these improvements. And so again, that should be on the next council agenda for your consideration.
I'm going to add a couple things. Jim, I think you're being a little humble. I can tell you, since I've been elected, this was one of the prime things that we worked on. I met with Larry Walsh early on after my election, told him that this was a priority. I met myself, Jim Hawk, Jim Trisna, and other members of staff, had numerous meetings with Centerpoint and with IDOT going back to last summer, telling them that this needed to get done. We've also made trips to Springfield and to Washington, talking to our legislators about the need for infrastructure improvements here in Joliet. So, Jim, thank you for the work that you did, and Jim Trisna and staff. I also have decided I'm going to appoint Councilman Turk as the liaison for this project, much like Councilman Girl served as a liaison for the courthouse project. I think Mike being here the longest, and this is probably the biggest public improvement to Joliet since I-80 came through. So Mike has accepted that. He will be the point person on this moving forward. But again, thanks to staff. I don't know if council had any questions or any comments. We can entertain them now.
Nice work.
Great work. Great work.
Finally, last night in executive session, we talked about the Rialto Theater. I did forward the email that I received regarding the numbers. I think we want to open that up for conversation tonight, if there are any thoughts. Again, Jim, would you like to give a little background to this?
Well, just that there's been a committee formed of business people, and the mayor's been meeting with that group, and they're kind of spitballing and brainstorming on ways to help the Rialto and move them forward financially, because right now they've got a outstanding debt. Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to mention that we were in executive session to purchase it. So we're
That's
talking about
correct.
price and so.
Thank you.
there's no question.
Clarification, that's right. Because that was one of the issues that the mayor brought up in that conversation, was they had said, well, is the city interested in purchasing the office space attached to the Rialto? And the mayor also then countered, well, why don't we just buy the theater itself? So everything's kind of on the table. I think you received an email from the Rialto's attorney giving the opinion that the Rialto property itself can't be sold, but the legislation itself that says that the 2 Rialto building could be sold. So.
And I think it was an executive session, Marty. Our belief is that the Will County Metropolitan Exposition and Auditory Authority
Yep.
Yes.
Is not tied to the theater. It was created in Springfield as a group here in Will County, but there's no connection directly to the theater. Is that your legal opinion?
Correct. There's actually no mention of the Rialto itself in the statutory language. And they would have the same powers that council would have to sell property. So,
I guess the question then is this something that the council would be interested in pursuing, not necessarily an acquisition, but going down that road? Do we want to start looking at the numbers and decide if we want to move in this direction, or is that a waste of our staff's time?
Well, Mayor, I got one question.
Yes.
Okay. Any outstanding monies owed to the vendors, therefore, are not attached, just to be clear, to the building per se. It's attached to the WMCEAA. They are the ones that signed the contracts. They are the ones that, correct? And they cannot use the Rialto as collateral for any of these vendor purchases.
I don't know that.
Marty?
yeah, I don't,
Can they file a mechanics lien to the property?
we haven't run a title search, so.
They may be able to.
Something that we need to know.
Right.
Depends if it was a building improvement versus a service provided, probably.
Well, if they could, we're looking at close to $3 million in debt. Would that be correct?
There's an outstanding loan for $2.4 million for renovations to the theater section for occupancy of St. Francis, and that comes due at the end of 2016 that we know about. And then there's operational expenditures, capital needs, and so forth.
What is currently, Mayor, what operational needs do they have now? I mean, they don't have any payroll, do they? That's pretty much closed up.
Yeah, they're fully staffed, and I think their payroll is about $70,000 a month that they're paying.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if we were to go down the road a little bit and look at these numbers, and they're talking about 2 Rialto, the building itself, the office building. I would sort of think, why would I buy the office building when I could purchase the theater? You know? So I would, I would not have any opposition to going down looking at, pursuing that part of it. But the office building, I mean, the theater could be very lucrative to us, so I would want to look at that. I would want to look at the whole ball of wax, but especially, the theater, since we've just been told that the foundation doesn't have any, it's not mentioned into their language. So that would leave us open to look at it, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I would buy the new car instead of the old car.
The house and not the
Yeah,
garage.
right.
Mayor.
Yes.
I would be interested in pursuing it, but I think we should look, title search, see what else, other debts incurred there, and, do some pricing, and like Councilwoman Betty said, do we want the prize or do we want the second prize? And I think the Rialto Square Theater cannot be demolished. It has to be saved, and we have to do something to keep it because it's a rarity in the United States. It's one of very few theaters left, and we have this jewel right here in Joliet, and we just have to find a way to save it. And I know it's going to cost some money, but I think before we do anything to even consider buying it, we have to do our due diligence and take a look at everything. And maybe those folks that wanted to save the Rialto, let's see some money, people. Let's get out there and fundraise and help us. We're in dire straits here. So everybody that came here and packed the city council and said, you know, you got to let the theater go. You got to save it. We don't want this sign. We want this. We want that. Show me the money. Show us the money. Put your money where your mouth is, because right now is the time we need it. That's all I have to say.
One point of clarification. When you say we are in dire straits,
Oh, I meant the city. We, the city, as far as saving the Rialto. I consider myself part of the Rialto.
I know, and I do want to clarify that because we
Thank
are
you.
not. And we, all of us have taken a lot of heat for what's gone wrong at the Rialto.
Yes.
And it's unfair. We don't have any say in their policy. We have a liaison. Councilman Mudvin is, I was prior, but we don't control the policy or the decisions that have been made over there. And that's one thing to consider. If we do get involved in this moving forward, then we would be responsible for what happens. You know, for better or for worse, it would become our responsibility.
You are correct, Mayor, and I apologize for those.
Well, and I just wanted to clarify, I mean, we certainly nobody wants to see it torn down. That's not what, we're not trying to save the building from being torn down. Nobody's even proposed it would be torn down. They're looking for money to pay their debts and pay their staff. That's what they're looking for. The building's going nowhere.
Right, Larry, but what I'm saying, when a building stands vacant, like we have one at 901 Western, it's been vacant, and no attendance to it, it goes down and it needs to be demolished. And that's what I'm saying. We have to keep it vibrant somehow.
Right, I don't think that this council would not at least, myself, this may shock some people. If it, you know, remains dark as it is now with no real schedule of shows, I'm sure we'd keep some maintenance and custodial staff, so no, it wouldn't go in disrepair. I want the public to know this is not a mission to keep the wrecking ball away, because nobody's even suggested that yet. You're right, if it's left completely unattended for a number of years, you lock the door, walk away, and ignore it, but I don't think that's the intention of anybody up here.
No, it isn't, Councilman, but I just want to get down to the brass tacks, the facts. I mean, that's what could happen. It could happen. And nobody wants to see that happen. But if we don't do something soon, and I don't mean we, I'm talking about the citizens that want to save the theater, you need to act now.
Well, and as far as the vibrancy portion of it, I think that, I'll speak for myself. You know, I don't know if anything's come back from the Rialto board yet, but that third party, there was a couple of very, very impressive third parties to come in and manage shows, to manage upwards of 200 or more shows. That would provide the vibrancy you're looking for. That would provide the revenues needed for the most part. And at that point, the city can give some subsidies, because now you're talking about a business model that's going up, not down.
But again, we have no control over that.
Right,
We've heard
so-
nothing from the Rialto board itself, so I don't know where we're at with that.
Have they discussed that, to your knowledge, about making that jump to get that third party to come in and take over management?
They sent out a proposal asking for people, or sent out a request for proposals, but there, to my knowledge, has not been any meetings with the third parties, other than the two that you had kind of indicated that had come in earlier, to have formal meetings with, to try to pick a vendor.
Well, didn't they already have vendors come making presentations?
Individuals.
You had two.
Well, they sent out a proposal for individuals to come be a manager, and then it was decided that really need to take a look at a third party. In the time when individuals were coming, two organizations came and made a proposal, or it wasn't an end financial proposal, but gave ideas of what they could do, how they could run it, how many shows they could bring, what their experiences are.
Okay, I may have misunderstood. I thought they were invited. There was
People were invited to come, but
and make a third-party presentation.
And that has not happened as yet.
So
no meetings.
The company from Iowa, was it?
There was a company from Iowa and then a fellow from St. Charles.
From St.
Both
Charles.
came
And already tip their hand and say what they want to do.
Exactly. They came when it was advertised in the a trade posting that they were looking for a manager. And so these two groups came and said, we would like to run it.
That's, all right, thanks. Thanks for the information.
But then it went out to those two again, as well as posted wherever you would post a job board of that nature.
But they have already made their presentation, those two already made a presentation.
Yes.
Essentially gave their bid already, so to speak.
Not really, because they didn't really talk about any financial pieces on who's paying who or how this would be run and what staff. The person from Iowa did come with a staff showing that here's the staff I have behind me, here's what we do, here's our back room, this type of thing. The gentleman from St. Charles came to say how much experience he has, who he has with him, and showed the number of shows, and he had his shows up into the 200 a year he would be bringing in here.
That was the St. Charles?
That was the St. Charles person.
All right, thanks, Pat. Because, Mayor, what I would say is that certainly I'm open-minded to any presentation, but I did see the numbers that you sent to us in the email and that we discussed yesterday about purchase. And, you know, for the city to lay out X amount of dollars, not with the current business model. We haven't changed the business model, and now I'm worried that the money that we would spend to purchase the building would be used for, you're telling me it's $70,000 a month for staff?
I believe so. It's
70,000?
Yes, sir.
And if there's no shows, why is there full staff? That confuses me.
Good question.
So I'm not really interested in exploring any options to continue paying a full staff when actually it seems that the best decision that can be made here is to go with a third party, which eliminates that staff then, because the third party will then run the theater. As far as
Probably some. I'm sure there's some that would still be.
we might still need maintenance staff, for instance, maybe the sounds, the sound and audio staff and lighting staff. But, if I understand the third party correctly, if they do that, which I'm excited about, they've got their own marketing departments, they've got their own salespeople, they've got their own ticket. They have the total package, whether it's out of St. Charles or Iowa or wherever they get it from. So we can look at it, but, I would say not under the, we still haven't broken from the very business model that brought us to the brink of the cliff.
Well, if we had control over the theater, we could control the business model. Right now, we have no say. And it's been made clear that they don't care what we have to say. They're not going to listen. So, which is, I think, ultimately why we've cut off all the funding. So that's one thing that we could change, theoretically.
Right, and if they continue to not care, if that's the characterization, then apparently their desire to sell is not that serious, because they need to show that the money is going to be used wisely.
Yes.
You done?
Yes, thank you.
Couple questions. One was, and Pat, maybe you can help. Back in May, I believe there was I'm looking at it because I recall this, that there was discussions reported that somebody was looking to buy these two buildings. Is that fallen through then? Can you share that? I know you guys went to executive session according to the article, but
They're through a third party presented at that time, would the board would they consider selling it off? Whether that person knew that a appraisal was already done or in the process of being done, I'm not sure, but the appraisal was done and has been done, and I guess the statement was more, if Rialto, you're thinking about selling it, I'd like to talk to you. Well, at that time, the attorney got involved more so, that says, okay, you're a public body, this has to be a bid process, that type of thing.
Gotcha. So the buildings theoretically are still for sale, so that's why they're coming to us to ask if we'd purchase them for cash flow. Is that kind of it in a nutshell?
Yeah, and it hasn't been the board that came to us. It was this independent group that's coming in trying to help the Rialto that's made the, basically started the conversation.
And you asked our opinion, what we thought about buying the buildings. I know that your email said for us to purchase the Rialto, it had to go through the General Assembly, so it's doable, but we have to go through Springfield. But I just don't see how the city can financially afford to purchase A, the Rialto, but B, the two buildings. We don't have the money to finish the bus terminal. The train station. We got the Evergreen.
Let me stop you. I don't know if we're going to need any money up front. we're assuming $3 million in debt. So I
Still gonna have to pay on that loan
well,
every month.
But if Councilman Hug is right, if the business model was changed, the theater theoretically in the building could be self-sufficient. It certainly was at one point. A private entity built this, the Rubin Brothers, and operated and made money off of it. So it's not impossible. But I'm interrupting you, I'm sorry.
Right. No, you're fine. I just don't see that government should come in to take this over. If you said private industry did it originally, I think that's the revenue or the avenue we should take. And maybe we need to help facilitate this with this third party that's helping negotiate, trying to come up with a compromise to save them. I just don't see that the city could become the landlord. I just look at the Ball Diamond, the water park, and all these other ventures we've been into where we weren't technically good landlords. And now, with my vote, we're taking over Evergreen, which is an unknown. I just think that it's something that private industry should handle and not the city of Joliet. That's just my take on the situation.
Mayor?
I'd like to,
Can I make a couple clarifications? First of all, the authority is a governmental unit, so government is already operating the Rialto. But more important is they've communicated to us that their attorney says that they can't sell the Rialto. So they have no interest in selling the theater portion to us, obviously. And that's the first hurdle you'd have to overcome before you really even talk about it.
Just to clarify, the email says that any of the property would have to be approved by the General Assembly. So theoretically, the Rialto could be sold if it's approved by the General Assembly? Did Marty clarify
That's
that?
the position of their attorney, yes.
it's a little bit more complicated when you look at it, Councilman McFarland, too, because I don't really think that I would want to see if the bidding process is what's required or approval from the legislature to sell it to a private individual, private company, because there's no guarantee it stays the Rialto. Once they own it privately, they could turn it into, I don't know, a coffee house. You know what I'm saying? They could gut it and turn it into a convention center or mini convention center. And I don't think that's the goal here, to have the Rialto change, the building. That's why I keep separating the building from the operation. I think we all want the Rialto to continue to be the Rialto in Joliet.
If I may.
Yes.
I do believe it's on the National Historic Register, so you can't really go in there and put a coffee house in there and gut it.
I hope that's true then.
Yeah,
Okay.
but, and just let clarify, I'm not saying we should buy the Rialto either. I'm just saying we shouldn't let it go. And I get very passionate about it because I was on that board for many, many years, and I know when people come through there, I bring lots of people in from out of town. They just can't believe that this building still exists. So, we have to, people come together and, the council, like Mayor said, we've taken a lot of flack for bailing them out, and we finally have to say no, but you guys have to do something. Show us something that you're doing to help yourselves. You have to help yourselves. And again, just put the appeal out there to people. If you want our beautiful Rialto to stay, then let's do some fundraising for it and get going on it. I'm sorry, I just have to say those things.
Under the new management structure that is not done but is being worked on, there's new board members with the Rialto. Looking at it from all angles, it was mentioned that it should be considered to put Rialto 2, the office buildings, not the one that St. Francis is in that's attached, up for sale. Could that, nobody there really wants to sell an asset, but would that be enough money to pay the current debt, not the $2.5 million that was done for the remodeling, that it is being serviced by the rent that St. Francis is paying? Would that be enough then to have the restructuring move forward with a different business model? I know the businessmen in town that are working real hard on this with the mayor and Jim Hock need the whole business plan. Need to see, what are you going to do with staff? What are you going to do with the rest of the marketing? How many shows you're going to run? What are you going to put in? And the decision appears to say, we got to interview these third-party people, get one of them in, and we need to hear from them what is their business plan that then could come back to us. Now, has this dragged on longer than any of us that are in the private side? Whatever will let it? Sure. But it's government involved in things just move slower than we'd like them to.
I don't know if we have a consensus. Well, their next meeting should be a week from Wednesday?
Yes.
Last Wednesday of the month?
Yes, last Wednesday of the month, 4 o'clock.
I'll be at the meeting. Jim, I know you've been going. Pat, you've been going. Jan, you've been to meetings. Maybe others on the council should try to attend and express your opinions to what they're doing there, what they're not doing.
Mayor, if I might add, I think there was a slight consensus on one item, to do a title search and see where the liabilities lie between the building itself and the WMCEAA. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Which building?
I think that just the whole kit and caboodle, so to speak.
Sounds
You
like
know?
only,
Aren't they two separate, though?
Ed said they're only looking at one to get rid of, correct?
Right.
Well, right,
Keep the Rialto, keep the USF building rental,
Yes.
and just sell the one.
the proposal that again, and it wasn't a hard proposal, it was an idea, was that the city buy Rialto too, buy the office building. And I countered, because I assumed I was gonna hear it on the council, if we're going to get in the business of buying these buildings, why would we buy that building and not the theater? Which is what Councilman McGavin said. So, no, they haven't, no one's proposed it formally, but if that was a direction we wanted to take, we could propose it to them, I suppose, or not. But, you know, I thought it's time to have a public discussion about it.
Research it, that's how I think. It doesn't mean we're going to do anything.
Thanks, Jim.
Sure.
Next is public comments. Christopher Pedersen.
Statesman IFB Pro Christian Person 702 Vine Street, Joliet 05. To this distinguished body of councilmen and councilwomen, I want to address full council, legal council, and chief city manager on direction of the great city of Joliet, City Champions, Crossroads, America, State of Illinois, and the retirement of Jim Haller. I want to thank Jim Haller for his service to our great city in the Planning and Zoning Department for over 30 years, but also in other departments. I want to wish him and his family the best after his retirement party and his life after his retirement day and whatever he should do with his time. And in our administration, I want to see our city council for the building at 2 Rialto Plaza. I want to see if you guys could, a full, prepare that for a council meeting, administration.
Thank you.
Raymond Richardson.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to address some issues that I was having with Joliet PD. Now, I know every police officer is not bad. I judge every man by his character. But before I even get to it, I just want to give you a little background about me. I have my bachelor's in kinesiology. I have a master's in business administration. I run 3 businesses, personal training business, a supplements business, and a music business. And I also have a partnership with a gym in Chicago. I'm actually a faithful minister at my church, which is in this town. And what happened 6/22/2016, I was in an accident. And I slid past an actual stoplight. And a police officer said that, he kind of just put in on his own words that I actually ran the red light. When I get the statistics of the actual, the night, it was very rainy, it was wet, and it was thundering. What happened was the officer towed my car, and according to 625 ILCS 5-4-203.5 toll rotation list, it said that the law enforcement officer shall allow the owner of the vehicle to specify a towing service to relocate the disabled vehicle. So the officer basically made it seem like I could not relocate my own vehicle by calling my own tow service. And he basically towed my car to Rendo's, and they want me to pay this big fee, which I refused to pay because I could have called my own tow service, according to the law. And then he made it seem like I couldn't do that. And so he also said it was a business. The next issue with the citation, and forgive me for my presentation because I was rushing here to get here. But with the citation, He gave it to me, and like I said, he basically just said, you know, you ran the red light along with the other police officers. And I told him, I said, I didn't run the red light. It was actually wet on the ground, and I slid, okay? But he put it in his own words. He said, I have to write you a ticket, which you didn't have to because you heard what I said. And so I even got on my ticket, it says it's wet. It don't say it was dry. It don't say anything. Another problem that I had, and this was the next week after I got pulled over, he was saying that I was on my phone, on which my phone was actually on my GPS. I have a GPS on my phone, and you can hook up your GPS to the mirror or whatever. I was putting my GPS phone on my mirror. He said I was on it. Okay? He pulled me over. I said, I have insurance, but I can't find it. Okay? So what he did, it was about 5 minutes later, I said, I found it. And he was still standing right there. I was looking for it. He just walked back to his car. He still wrote me a ticket. Now, on this ticket, now I got a ticket for, the phone saying I was on texting or whatever. But this ticket right here is saying I had no insurance when I told him I found an insurance card, okay? And I took a picture of the time and date of when I found the insurance card, okay? So he still went back to actually write the ticket. And what he put on a ticket, an individual bond is $2,000. Okay, I've never heard of that before in my life. Okay, $2,000 bond ticket. So you want me to go to court, and when I had insurance, and and like I said, I took a picture while he's writing the ticket. I took the picture of the ticket to show the date and the time of it. So that was the problem I was having with, you still write a citation when I told you I have my insurance card. My vehicle was towed, and I had all my fitness equipment basically in my car to take to Chicago, to our gym that we're building in Chicago. And like I said, I went to the police officers, the police department, and I've asked for a vehicle release. They say no. I went to the administrative hearing, or I called them, the legal department. They sent me back to the PD, and I'm like, okay, what do you guys want me to do? So I'm kind of was getting a runaround of what I need to do to try to get my car out.
So there's
Okay.
a 4-minute time limit. Can you wrap it up, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm asking you if I can get a motion to release my car and these citations be squashed, because obviously you can see if an officer still writes an insurance ticket and I show him and I take the picture and say, hey, I have the insurance ticket, and you still write it, what is that? I didn't understand that.
Thank you. Chief Ben, could you talk to Mr. Richardson after the meeting? Thank you.
Mr. Ambrosini?
So be good. Lives down the street. Oh, here you go.
Anytime, Mr. Ambrosini.
I'll be very brief. Ambrosini, 215 North Ottawa Street, Joliet. My comments are directed to the Joliet Police Department.
You speak into the microphones, please?
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you.
This is for the Joliet Police Department. 2 weeks ago, I sent the Joliet Police Department an email of a situation that happened 2 weeks ago. I never got a feedback or anything like that. I want to comment on 2 female Joliet police officers. 9156 car, Officer Adriana. Car 9152, Officer Chocolate. They saved a life in downtown Joliet. And that's all I have to say.
Could you repeat that in the microphone, sir? What you just
Saved,
said?
9156, Officer Adriana. 9152 is the car number. They saved, Miss Chocolate is her name, Officer Chocolate. They literally saved a life in downtown Joliet. To me, all life is very precious. All life is very precious, irregardless of what it is. This was a little kitten. And if you want to hear the details, I'll go over very quickly. Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay. I'll be very brief. 10 o'clock in the morning, I was walking past the Joliet Catholic Charities, Casa in Ottawa. Came around the corner, and there was this little kitten, gold, very young. Took one look at me, I must have scared the hell out of it. It ran behind a concrete planter in front of the Catholic Charities. This was about 10 o'clock in the morning. I went up to the apartment, I got a saucer of milk, I put the milk down there for the little kitten. About 5:30 in the afternoon, I went back and the little kitten was there. It didn't take any of the milk, so I got a little concerned. So who do you go to? You look for a police officer. So the good Lord led me to the, please forgive me, the State's Attorney's parking lot. In State's Attorney's parking lot, there were two squad cars, 9156, 9152. I went up to them. I explained the problem. They said, okay, we'll go check it out. They checked it out. I walked over there with them. They got there first. And they said, where is it? I said, it's behind the planter. The little cat and the little kitten was still there. I tried before I got them, the police officers, I tried to move the planter. I couldn't. So Officer Chocolate and Officer Adriana, I don't know how they did it. I call them Wonder Woman. They literally pulled the planter back. The problem was the little kitten was trapped between the wall and the planter. So they released the kitten. The kitten went on its way. I went on its way. I thanked them profusely. And I want them, they literally saved the cat's life, the little kitten. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments? Seeing none, next we have mayor and council comments.
Your Honor, yes, I'd like to thank the Churches United for Christ with their opening of the 30-day crusade. Right now, they are on Chicago Street, and with services every day. I think that this, it's been going on for years. I don't know how many years. But I just want to thank them for coming and opening up and giving our residents an opportunity to come in and worship. And Mayor, I want to thank you also for allowing me to be there and stand in for you for the welcome. So I wanted to say that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to sort of mention, Joliet is a great, diverse city. And we are experiencing some things in this country that we have not been able to experience that right here in Joliet, because Joliet has such a unique and such a diverse community with a great police force that has been doing their job with community policing. So we're blessed in that way that we have not experienced some of the tragedies that other cities have faced. And so we stand in solidarity with our police department. We know that all lives matter, and especially with them that lay their life on the line every day for us. And so we stand in solidarity with those officers. To the social media crowd, I just want to bring this point. We have to be careful and we have to be clear about things that go out through social media. There is a business in town that posted a sign that says no colors. Colors with an S. Okay? That was intended for a group, from what I understand, the motorcycle colors. Okay? This was tweeted out as no colored. Come on, people. Let's be responsible about what we're putting out there on social media. Let's think about some things before you start typing those keys. Let's be respectful for everyone in this city. Let's stand together, because together we're going to make it. Together this city is going to be great. Together through prayers we can pray for other cities that are experiencing some things that we're not experiencing. So I just wanted to say that, and I know that's on my little soapbox, but things could crack off so easily. Let's be careful about what we're putting out there on social media. Okay, thank you.
No comments, Your
Thank you for the comments, Councilwoman. I think you stated it well. Just remind people that Thursday and Friday, because of the forecast high heat, dangerous heat, garbage collection, yeah, I know this kind of pales in comparison. Garbage collection starts an hour earlier, so it's 6 in the morning. Waste management on the 21st and the 22nd, Thursday and Friday. We'll be picking up an hour early, which means the entire day is moved up an hour. So if you have routines of when you bring it out, so you don't miss your garbage, put it out there a little bit earlier. That's all I really have.
No comment.
Nothing.
Yes, I'm sorry. Two things. With all this hot heat going on, I've noticed several newspaper articles where people have left their dogs in hot cars with the windows up. Some made it, some didn't. And my question to you, Chief, is, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but when officers do find a dog in the hot car and they finally get the owner and they give them the ticket, are we giving the dog back to the owner, or are we taking possession?
I'm not aware of us taking possession. I'm not sure if we've notified animal control on any of these cases. I could look into it for you, though, but I know the officers themselves wouldn't be able to take possession.
Right, but they would be, I didn't know if they were aware to call animal control, because I did discuss this with our city attorney today, and you want to just tell them that part of the ordinance for cruelty to animals?
Yeah, we're actually, there's a proposal to revise the general orders to.
I did have a conversation with our deputy chief, who has been working with your office, and our canine trainer to revise our internal policies. I know that's in the works, but we haven't put that out yet because it's not finalized.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. I know you were unprepared for that, and I apologize for that. But especially with all this heat coming, people, if you see a dog in a hot car, please, or a child, call 911. Our police officers will be there, or animal control, something. But do not let that animal die in the hot car, and make sure you get the license plate or the name of the person. Because I have to tell you, I found a dog in a hot car in Menards just a couple weeks back, and the dog was in a cruiser, and on the back of the car, the lady finally came out, because then I talked to her. She was a rescue mom, and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You're a rescue mom, and you're leaving this dog in a hot car? And, of course, she flipped me off and said a few expletives, and off she went. But I thought that was ridiculous. So thank you for that, Chief. And on another note, I am wearing blue tonight because tomorrow night is Blue Night at Slammers Field in honor of all the slain police officers. It's a fundraiser. Tickets are $10, and $5 of those monies will go to the slain police officers' family that were recently murdered. And so I'm not able to attend it, but they're encouraging everybody to wear blue. There's going to be blue lights there. So I'm wearing my blue in honor of all those police officers, not just recently, but in the past few months. People, can we just please come together and have peace and understand each other? This would be a wonderful world if we could just all do that. Think before we open our mouth. Think before we type, as Councilwoman Betty Gavin said. Get to know people instead of, I don't like you. Well, you don't even know me. You don't know her or him. Doesn't matter what color you are, what race, religion, what your beliefs are. We're all people. We're all human beings. And we were put here for a reason. So please, let's just come together and work together as a community and as a city and as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Briefly, Nitro Night was a great success in downtown Joliet. Thank you to the City Center Partnership. They had a great crowd despite the about an hour downpour early in the evening, so good job. I want to thank Bishop Sanders and the All Nations Church of God in Christ for being invited to the Friends and Family Community Day event. It was a wonderful ceremony that they put on. Thank you, Bishop. There's a grand opening again today of Legion Park at Hickory and Granite. There's another grand opening earlier in the week that I was unable to attend, but great job to our Joliet Park District. Again, they're following through on the promises they made prior to passing the referendum and reinvesting in our parks in Joliet, so thank you. Finally, I want to thank St. Joe's Hospital. I was at a grand opening last week for their newly, their expansion to the Emergency Room Medical Center. St. Joe's, of course, is the biggest employer within the city of Joliet. It is the only hospital inside the city of Joliet. Thank you for their commitment to our community and for their investment, that people are going to be served with greater ease and much quicker inside their emergency room. That's all I have. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.